Okay, awesome, awesome. They are the champions last year.
Right.
And he said Coach Wilson.
Yes, sir.
What's your first name?
Jeremy.
Jeremy.
Yeah. Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you as well. So, folks, here we are. This is the South 78 Football Show, the season finale, as the Terry Bulldogs did get eliminated by the Pascagoula Panthers this past week. But this week, we are going to talk with some people here today on the South 78 Football Show and wrap up the season. But who I'm joined with right now is Coach Jeremy Wilson, the new Terry track coach. He was a part of that track team last year that won the 6A state championship for track and field. I mean, how about that? And we are here with Coach Wilson, who is now taken over as head coach here. And so, Coach, look, last year was a very special year for you guys, getting to win the 6A state championship. What do you take from that moving forward to make this program be a type of program that just repeats that type of success?
Well, the word that we've been using ever since we won that championship is standard. Now that we was able to
If
pull
you just
out,
move that microphone a little closer.
okay. Now that we was able to
Perfect.
pull out that the state championship, we've been using the term standard. So now there's something that they can follow, so, a blueprint that they can follow. And with us using that, I've noticed the attitudes with my athletes are a lot better.
Yeah.
It's I don't have to stand over them for them to do certain things now. They police themselves. They guide themselves, and they wanna do better because they see the other athletes with rings, and everybody wants a ring now. But
Yep.
I tell them all the time, they don't just hand these rings out. You don't just win the state championship. You got to put in the work and grind, and that's what we did last year. So we just trying to build off that. We got a lot of returning guys, so we're looking pretty good. So it's just up to them to buy into the program, and we'll go from there.
100%. So at this time of year, we're talking about November right now, when do you guys start getting into the training, getting ready for the season? Does it start now or does it start a little later?
Yeah, well, we've actually been practicing for the past 2 weeks. Right now, we're doing a lot of conditioning. We won't really get into the technical stuff until a little later on, but now we're doing a lot of conditioning and just we got freshman guys that's coming up that some have never even ran track, so we're just trying to show them the ropes and, figure out who's going to do what events and just kind of let them get in the program to see how the program is ran. And in the next couple of months, we're going to start ramping it up and working more on technical things.
Yeah, for sure. And so just for people who have not kind of seen a track program up close, kind of talk about those things and the way that you coach track and field. It's a different type of sport.
Yeah, it's a different type of sport, actually. And I make the joke all the time that our sport is everyone else's punishment. So
Yeah.
other sports, your punishment is to run, and I get them to embrace running, embrace the work that it takes, and I tell them all the time, and only people that run track will understand this when I say, track is a very painful sport. It hurts. It hurts to train. It hurts to compete, because at our sport, from the time they shoot the gun to the time you finish the race, you're using every ounce of your energy to make it through the line.
Yep.
It's like other sports, and I'm not, and no disrespect to any other sport. I love other sports, but from our sport, from the time you start to the time you finish, you're using every ounce of energy you have. So it's very painful, and it's gonna hurt. But when you see your results and you see your name in the paper and you see where you've come versus where you started, it's an enjoyable pain.
Yeah.
And once you start one meet, you run this time. The next meet, you run this time. You start to buy into the program. When you first start and you never ran, you're thinking, oh, this is a lot. I hate it. My head hurt. My stomach hurt. It makes me want to vomit. But once you start seeing results, you kind of like, well, yeah, I guess I'm not that tired. So I tell my athletes all the time, practice is going to be very hard. That way the track meets can be easy.
Yeah.
And a lot of the terminology the newer guys don't understand, but the returning guys, I catch them using some of the terminology that I'd use with the underclassmen. So clearly they are buying in, and I'm very proud of the group that we have, and I'm excited to see how they move forward.
Absolutely. Coach Wilson, we appreciate you
Thank you
joining
for
us.
having me. Thank you for having me.
And the South 78 football show continues on right here from the Good Eatin in Byram, Mississippi. All right, awesome.
All right, thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
So how can I watch this?
So it's on YouTube, TSJW Network.
TSJW Network.
That's right. And if you go there on YouTube, it'll be on there. It's streaming right now. It's fine, but I mean, it's just it's streaming right now, and then so you can watch it at any time. You can watch it back right now. And we appreciate the Good Eatin here in Byram, Mississippi for sponsoring our show, the South 78 Football Show. And, season has come to an end, folks, and this is a time of year that we all really appreciate and look forward to, and it has come to a close. We're going to be talking to Coach Chris Thigpen in just a little bit of the Terry Bulldogs, just kind of summarizing this season, a historic season for the Terry Bulldogs. They finished 8-3 on the year, but we appreciate the Good Eatin in Byram for sponsoring the South 78 show, and I'm right here now with Coach Chris Thigpen. Join us right now. What's going on, Coach?
How you doing, Trellis?
Good to see you again. There's the South 78 show right here. And so, Coach, look, we're summarizing the show. This is the season finale, South 78 football show for 2025. And, Coach, there's a lot good to take away from the season, but obviously, the goals in the playoffs didn't finish the way that you wanted it to. But 8-3. Best record since 2006 for you guys. All three teams you lose to are high quality opponents, and that you expect to do, well, at least Hattiesburg and Pascagoula, you expect to do very well moving forward. So just kind of summarize this season, this 2025 year.
Well, I was talking to my staff, some coaches on my staff today about it. We were talking about, did we get out of our team as much as we could have this season, within reason, and I think we did. Yes, we're disappointed. We're not playing this week. The goal is to try to play at least Thanksgiving weekend to give yourself a chance to play for a state championship. And we didn't make it, and a lot of teams didn't make it. We fell short 2 weeks. And so when you put things in perspective, though, with the season we had the best defensive year, I think, in 19 years with guys that with only 2 returning starters, basically, from the year prior. So we did a really good job of coaching that side and getting those guys ready to play at a high level, this season. And then offensively, we had the best year we've had in several years. One of the best years we've had in 19 years, scoring the ball. In yards offensively, and so Brady got better. Now the last 2 weeks wasn't what we wanted it to be from an offensive standpoint, but collectively, throughout the year he got better. His numbers got better. Our run game was better. We were over 3,000 yards total offense this year, which is up from last year, and we have more wins, and I think if you talk to any coach around the state of Mississippi that's coaching high school football, and the thing they talk about is improving. You want to improve year in and year out, and that's what we've done so far. Coach Coleman told me, during the year, hey, this is our first time kicking a field goal and making a field goal in the game, not an extra point, but lining up, kicking a field goal. We were able to do that this year with Derek Howard Jr., and so, we have a lot to be thankful for. With our football team, we're going to have players play in all-star games. We've had 5 players make the all-region team in Region 3, 6A. Another 6 players made all-region first team. So we got guys getting awards. We got guys that are going to get recruited, that are going to play on the next level. And I know it's only Wednesday of this week, but every day this week we've had a college coach stop by campus to recruit our players, and those are our seniors, not the ones that are coming in the spring to recruit our 27 guys. So,
Yeah.
we're in a good position right now from a program standpoint. We have a very good staff, got really good administration, and so um, keep your fingers crossed. If we could maybe, get a turf field, I think that enhance our football program even more.
Yeah, no, for sure. Just to have that consistency. And talking a little bit about this season, you talked about all the milestones that you guys hit offensively and defensively. You go into this season and you're talking about how good the defense was. That was like the big concern about the team.
Right.
Just losing all those guys from last year.
Yeah.
And then the way that they stepped up this year and were able to defend. And, the Pascagoula game, you talked about it right after the game, that the score was very deceiving defensively.
Oh, yeah.
Because defensively they didn't really let a whole lot go, actually.
No.
Now, the Hattiesburg was probably the one game that the other team got them.
Right.
Because Hattiesburg was really firing on all cylinders, and we'll see what they – they could go all the way. You never know.
Yeah.
They were a very hot team. Kind of talk about that a little bit, how you guys were able to shore that defense up.
Well, the credit goes to the kids. They came in, they bought in, they were hungry to improve, they were hungry to, be coached. And, Coach Vincent was very, very fired up and motivated because, just like anybody, people saying, oh, you're losing Caleb Tillman, you're losing Jordan McGee, you're losing Jadarius Young. What is the defense going to be like? So, as coaches, we're competitive, and we also want to accomplish things, but that's a part of coaching. And so we knew we had guys that could step up to the plate and, play big and be big in big-time games. And so that's what we did. I thought we did a really good job of preparing that side of the football to play well, and that's all a part of coaching.
Yep.
Over the summer, we coached those guys, Coach Washington, Coach Johnson, Coach Benson, Coach Haley. We went to team camp at Holmes. That was real good for our team and our defense. And then, having guys that played well up front to start the season was really, really good too. And so, we were talking today about how we're going to replace guys, who we got to grow. We started having exit meetings with our players about, hey, we want you to gain 15 to 20 more pounds of muscle. Here's where we think you're weak. Here's where we need you to grow. Here's how we're going to help you do that. And then, at the end of that meeting, we ask, okay, what type of questions you have for us? What do you want to ask us? Just to kind of leave the door open for the players to have full transparency about where they are in the program with us and, where they want to go individually, from a physical standpoint and from a position standpoint. And so that's something parents don't always know that we do. We're not always open and transparent with the parents about exactly what we do with the players, but the players kind of know where they stand with us, especially day to day, week to week, month to month.
Yeah, for sure. And so looking forward to next year, Lord willing, you're supposed to have Brady Busby there back at quarterback and have him as a third-year player, which will be nice. That'll be an advantage that you'd never had quarterback be 2 years in a row, and so much less 3 years. And so looking forward to that as well. And then losing Rondé Baker, that's a big loss. But Brandon Duplessis looks very good. You got Cole Reed as well, able to run the football. So you got the running back room looks really good. You got receivers in the wings and everything like that. Kind of just. You know better than I do. I'm just looking at the field from the press box. But looking forward to next year, what would be your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah. A quarterback coming back for a third year is always great. You expect that position to be really good. You got to have really good production out of that position. From a run game standpoint, Yes, Rondé is leaving, but we do feel really good about Cole Reed and Brandon Duplessis. Both guys play defense as of now,
Yeah.
but they're two young players that like the game of football, that love the game of football, and they just want to be out there, whether it's on offense or defense, and contribute to the team's success. But both are very physical. Both can run the football the way we want the football ran, and they're going to get bigger, faster, and stronger and better in the developmental season as well. And so, offensive line wise, we got some kids we got to grow to improve that area, that unit. Just like all parts of the football team, even on defense, So, it's something you start taking a look at early and see how you match up. But we're excited about the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, and just all the work between the seasons is what makes the big difference, because you look at guys and how they are this year, and, I mean, that doesn't mean anything for how they're going to look 10 months from now, which is
That's
when
right.
you need them to look real good.
I was just talking to A.J. Ford's dad about, him.
Yeah.
He's going to be a kid that we expect a lot of, defensively next year. And I told him, for the most part, high school kids make their biggest jump physically from their junior to their senior year in terms of their body, kind of coming into their grown man strength, filling out, as people say. And so he's one of the young players we got right now that we're looking for him to look different physically in the next 10 months. And that's the thing, if you do your off-season program right, and kids eat right and take the protein and stuff like that, their body should change physically, and it should be a visible change. Because in 6A, if you're trying to play at the top of 6A, you gotta have certain physical traits about you, as well as those intangible things on the inside that drive and motivate you to keep you going, throughout a long season.
Yeah, no, most definitely. So another thing, too, is that, looking forward to next year, your schedule will stay similar. It'll be a similar schedule. Same schedule, right?
Same schedule.
Same exact schedule.
Our schedule is locked in for 2 years.
That's right.
Our region schedule is locked in for 2 years. Our non-region is locked in for 2 years. The only possible way it may change if I decide to, schedule someone for week 6, which is our bye week.
Yeah.
We can do that, or we can just leave it a bye. And so, but for the most part, it'll stay the same. And, we're excited about our schedule. People talk about our schedule. I've heard some people say things about our schedule, but, when we schedule Murrah, they're coming off 9 wins. They're a 7A school. Canton was coming off a 3rd round playoff appearance in the North playoffs. Callaway was a playoff team. Raymond was a playoff team, also a rival. And so I think we got a really good schedule that we played. Us and those schools have a lot in common, from a resource standpoint, from, just demographically, we have a lot in common. Some teams I tried to schedule didn't want to play us, but I'm not going to go into that. But, one was a 7A school that didn't make the playoffs. And then another one is a 5A school that is currently still in the playoffs. So, but there's 2 5A schools I tried to schedule, with this scheduling cycle. Yeah.
No, and totally understand that. Another thing too, Coach, is that's part of the change with moving from being a team that wins about 2 games a year to being a team that wins about 8 now. And when you start winning more, now the next cycle you might be looking to, keep pushing it on up. But that's the thing, Coach. When you get started and you're winning 2 games a year, this schedule, you're not going to win these games.
Right.
You're not winning a lot of these games. Now, when you are on the winning side of it, that's a good thing. That's just showing growth. Right. But you do get to that point where you start winning those games. That's what you want to do.
That's right. You want to grow the expectations. You want to grow every part of your program, and but we know that comes with it. But you gotta keep pushing as a staff, as players, to get past that hump, to push into this week and next week. To be playing, to be serious contenders in 6A. And so we fell short of that this year. But we're gonna go back and look at our process and find out where we need to improve it and hopefully get these guys into deep into the playoffs and make that championship push. Everybody's shooting for it,
Yep.
but everybody can't be a contender.
Most definitely. So, Coach, we appreciate you joining us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Trellis.
And the South 78 Football Show will continue on. We got some more guests here today, some coaches from the college ranks that we'll have with us now. How you doing?
How you doing?
Coach Collins?
Yes, sir.
Coach Collins, East Mississippi, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So we're right here with Coach Collins, East Mississippi Community College. And, Coach, what is your specialty as a coach?
My specialty is I'm defense coordinator.
Defensive coordinator.
Defense coordinator, defensive back coach. And, in junior college you wear a lot of hats.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mixture between a 4-year school and high school a little bit. And so we do everything from monitoring athletes on the academics to getting the game plan prepared for them week in, week out. And as far as recruiting go, getting them in and out where they can go to a 4-year school.
Most definitely. Now, East Mississippi is known as a great program at that level. Kind of talk about that. Talk about y'all's program and just kind of what, that history that goes along with it is always a big thing, and just you guys' success. Talk about that a little bit.
Well, it starts just with the head coach and administration. They did a great job building that program, building that getting that standard, that foundation back when Coach Stevens first got there. And, it's just a success, overall success with the community and everybody else that bought into it from the administration on down to the coaches. And so we have a lot of success over the past decade. And just want to continue that. Got to continue to recruit. Got to continue to get great athletes in there. Got to continue to make sure they graduate and do what they're supposed to do to move on to the 4-year school.
Yeah, and so kind of talk about that a little bit in JUCO sports. I mean, you constantly have a cycle of players coming in and out since it's a 2-year situation. Talk about that, the grind of recruiting, especially a football team, because I think about basketball, you filling out 15 spots, but filling out all those guys and just keeping them on that cycle. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, that's your roster's going to change every year, and so you want to build that happy balance between you're not upside down in which your team. You want to be, 50-50. You're going to lose half of your team each year, but then you want freshmen that play that can step up and be leaders the next year as sophomores, and you want to recruit better freshmen than the sophomores you got. So, this is the first week that the state has been open, so we've been hitting the road running. I think I've been like the 24 schools in the last 5 days. So, between watching practice, getting up early in the morning, going recruiting, and just evaluating the guys to make sure that we got the guys that fit our program and what we do and our standard. It's a tough process. You got over 5,000 kids that's in our database and that we're recruiting week in and week out. And we got to make a true evaluation of. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you got people all over the state and they're calling. And, it might be a guy you played with, his son is calling. And you got to make that true evaluation of him. He might be big enough. He might be a baller. He could be a baller, and it's just tough. It's tough, and so you gotta keep that happy medium going right there, and to make sure you get the right guys in your program.
Yeah, and something you alluded to, Coach, is that not only are you always recruiting, but then guys are recruiting your players, and you want them to recruit your players. It's not a situation where you're trying to keep them all 4 years or whatever. You're trying to keep them 2 and then send them to the best place possible. Talk about that a little bit. You're constantly dealing with high school and then dealing with 4-year universities.
Yeah, and that's, we on the road recruiting, and your phone is constantly ringing. You better have a charge. You better have an extra charge and a battery pack ready to go.
That's right.
During recruiting season, because you got your guys also that people are calling about. You're sending transcripts, and getting the information they need where they can evaluate them as well. And and you always have that bond with those guys you recruit. I mean, I just was talking to a guy that I signed 4 years ago, and he was looking for a home. He was at a Division III school, and a Division II coach called me about him today, and so we exchanged contacts and got that information to him, and hopefully he can move on up from Division III to Division II. So it just continues to go on and on with our athletes and making sure they're in the right place and get to the place that they need to be where they can be successful.
Absolutely. Coach Collins, we appreciate you joining us.
No problem. Appreciate y'all having me.
Absolutely. Right here on the South 78 Football Show, we will continue on right here from the Good Eatin in Byram. All right, Coach. Hey, so what's your name, Coach?
Quentin Salisbury.
Coach Salisbury?
Yeah, Salisbury.
Salisbury, what's your what position, Coach?
Offensive line and strength and conditioning.
Okay, awesome. All right, folks, we're here with Coach Salisbury of the Hines Eagles football program. He's offensive line coach as well as strength and conditioning coach there, and y'all made a big turnaround. Y'all turned that program around so quickly.
Thank you. More work to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that you guys have more goals, but I mean, just phenomenal change. Talk about that. What did it take to make that flip? And you're talking about a 1-year flip there.
Yeah, it took us commitment, not only just from coaches, players as well. Everybody had to buy into our philosophy. It's smart, tough, and disciplined. All right, you got to be smart on and off the field. That's including coaches too. Tough. It's gonna be some tough days. All right, it's gonna be some adversity that we're gonna have to face. All right, but tough times don't last. Tough people do. All right, and it had the discipline to just show up every day. All right? And we even preach that to us as coaches, and coming in, putting our heads together, letting those ideas bounce off each other. All right, and that's the same thing with our guys is going to class. Have the discipline, getting up in the morning. Nobody has to tell you to do anything. All right, get to class. All right, that's half of the battle. All right, and also with practice too. All right, let's show it the work. And so basically what we did, we rewrote that philosophy, and it gave us some success. Even going into the off season too, having that little bit of success, it gives you that chip on your shoulder. All right, what you're working towards.
Yep, 100%. You go through this season, you guys start off the year, nobody's really has you guys on the radar. But then you guys put yourself on the radar, start off dominating in the first game against Itawamba, I do remember, and then you guys were able to pick up big wins moving forward. Kind of talk about that a little bit. What was the focus there right at the beginning of the season coming out the gate?
Win.
Yeah.
That's it,
yeah.
But just having execution in every play, every phase of the game. That's offense, defense, special teams. Everybody wants to win, but you got to do the little things that lead up to the win. All right, that's paying attention to details in practice, in film study. All right, being where you're supposed to be. That's with the things that's outside of football. I always take the phase, and anything you do is everything you do. All right, so the same approach you would take as a student in the classroom, you got to take that in the film study. You got to take that on the field, even if you're not in, taking mental reps. Even us as coaches, self-scouting ourselves. It is about the opponent, but it's more about us than it is anything. All right, let's correct what we can correct on our end, all right, and let the chips fall where they may. All right, they're going to do what they're going to do, but at the end of the day, control the controllables. That's one of Coach Jones' favorite sayings. I buy into it, and all the coaches and players, they buy into it too. Control what you can control.
Yeah, 100%. Now you're at the time of the year where you're doing a lot of recruiting, and you've got it going on both sides. You got it coming, people trying to recruit your players to four-year universities, and then you're trying to recruit high schoolers.
Absolutely.
Kind of talk about that a little bit. It's got to be a lot.
It's exciting, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Me and the coach, we just talked about that before we came in. It's like, okay, we got a possibility of guys that And that's what you want. You want them to get out. All right?
Yeah, that's right.
They're eligible to go to a 4-year college. All right, but that helps you in recruiting too.
It does.
All right,
yeah.
for even a drop-down guy that's at a major university, or that's a kid coming out of high school, whatever the case may be. Hey, they get guys out. All right, they're all about development of those guys, and you have to be. All right, that's when you get a player-led team. All right, when they know the coaches are there to support them. All right, looking for their best interest. Yeah, we're going to be hard on you, but we want the best out you.
Yeah.
So with that recruiting platform, it helps. You know, it works itself out. It really does.
Definitely, for sure. We appreciate you joining us, Coach.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And the South 78 football show continues. Oh, yeah. All right, folks. So we're here with AJ Ford's father here, Mr. Ford. We appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate you having us, Trellis.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, want to ask you a little bit of kind of your son, defensive player for this Terry Bulldogs team.
Mm-hmm.
They have an 8-3 season. Just kind of fall just a little bit short there at the end of the playoffs. But a lot of promising things we're seeing from the squad. What's your view as a father of one of the players?
I told my son just earlier today, man, I said, man, Terry has a very bright future here, especially in 6A. I looked at the football team, the returners coming back on defense. Man, I think majority of the defense will be back next year.
Yeah.
And so I look at him, he's only a sophomore. You have Cole Reed is only a sophomore. You have BJ, he's only a sophomore. Duplexis, he's only a sophomore. So all these guys are going to come back, and you still got Pat, that he'll be a senior next year. You got Michael White, who will be a senior next year. Those are just linebackers. And so when you think about that, I mean, you can't help but get excited.
Yeah.
The quarterback will be a senior next year. So you have him back. You have several offensive linemen that'll be back. So I think the future is bright, you know, as long as we're able to, you know, maintain the same standard that was set this year. I think they'll be just fine moving forward.
For sure, for sure. Kind of talk about this coaching staff, because the coaching staff's done a lot of good things, especially from when Coach Thigpen took it over to where it is now with an 8-3 record. Kind of talk about that a little bit, just from what you've seen from your perspective.
Yeah, well, again, my son, he's been in Byram schools since GRE, and so I've seen the good, the bad, you know, and the ugly when it comes to Terry High School and the, you know, the athletic department and, you know, the school in general. So to see where it is now, I was just telling Coach Thigpen, you know, they coined the phrase South 78. It brought a lot of pride to the school. It brought a lot of pride to the athletics department. They had something that they could actually say is theirs. And I've seen these coaches here, they really care about the kids that they have in the program. I talk about Coach Benson a lot, you know, to AJ. You know, that's the defensive coordinator. He's always instilling discipline in the kids. He's always making sure they're drinking protein, getting their lifts in, you know, making sure they're running, making sure they're conditioned. I was even telling them about, you know, things like yoga and Pilates that the coaching staff has instituted into their off-season workouts. I noticed that it was very few injuries. And when I say injuries,
we had a good year.
We didn't have many guys go out for the season. Yeah. And I think it was because of the way the coaches were able to institute these different practice regimens that, you know, that pay dividends for us. And so I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for the future here at Terry High School.
100%. We appreciate you joining us.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right here for the South 78 football show. So, folks, that will wrap up the South 78 football show, and that'll wrap up the season. The 2025 season's in the books for the Terry Bulldogs. They finished 8-3. We're looking forward to next year, and we expect to do a lot of big things here on the TSJW Network. We look forward to just continuing to progress. And I think we showed some progress from last year to this year, and we want to continue doing that moving to the future. We've done 4 years of coverage here, TSJW Network coverage of Terry Bulldogs football. That wraps up the 2025 season. I'm your host, Trellis Williams. We out.